thank you very much. Thank you for the nice introduction. It will probably be all downhill after that, but thank you. And it's good to see so many of you here today who give of your time and your energy on a topic and for people that are most important to us and to our community. And I think that is kind of a critical point, because we can look at things in terms of issues, we can look at things in terms of dollars, but it's really about people. And that's what really matters. So I'm going to talk just a little bit about some legislation in the state of California, kind of the status of what's going on statewide, and then I'd be happy to answer questions. I know Carlos and others are also available to respond to questions as well. So first, thanks for having me here. It's great to do an event in what I hope is the first of really many town halls with the Arc of San Diego. The issues that we have, that we face as a community are very significant. They're something that's mattered to me, and not just during my entire time as a state assembly member, but as a city council member as well. But first and foremost, the promises made by the Lanterman Act need to be kept. And that should be a priority in this state. It should be a priority for everybody in this state. We want to work to increase work opportunities for the community, protect vulnerable populations from becoming victims of crimes. And these are some of the things that I've been working on since I went out to Sacramento. Last spring, I urged the governor to support a 10% increase in funding for the developmentally disabled during the budget process. As individuals leave developmental centers and move into community-based settings, the funding really should follow. And we were successful last year in bringing money back by passing the managed care organization financing reform. And some of you are nodding who know what that is. Probably many in this room know what that is. I'll give you kind of the Cliff Notes version of it for those who don't. In California, there's a managed care organization tax, and it's paid for by insurance companies, but it's actually passed through Medi-Cal. And it's a way that the plates have kind of kept spinning for a number of years. Because of changes at a federal level with the ACA, the state of California had about $1.3 billion at risk. The Obama administration said California was out of compliance with these new requirements from the ACA, and said if you don't get in compliance, this $1.3 billion, federal government's not going to give you this $1.3 billion, okay? So, obviously, pretty significant amount of money. And I, for one, and others, didn't want to see that, see us not get that from the federal government. So we had to find a way that we could work together, Republicans, Democrats, and the governor, to accomplish something. And what I will tell you, at a time when all we see from Washington is fighting and sort of bickering and what is oftentimes, frankly, just juvenile behavior, what happened in California was really pretty remarkable. The Republicans got together, the Democrats. I was the Republican negotiator. We had a Democrat negotiator, and we had Governor Brown actually himself, but also his staff. And we got together and negotiated a plan that we got bipartisan, nearly unanimous support from the Assembly that complied with the ACA. So we got the $1.3 billion from the federal government. We got a $700 million tax cut for the residents of the state. And one thing that was crucially important to me that we got included in there was we got $300 million in increased spending for the developmentally disabled community. A remarkable achievement, which is why the media didn't cover it, right? Because you had Republicans and Democrats and the Brown administration actually getting along and solving a problem and doing what all of us send people up there to do. That's what we want people to do. All of us from high school civics class, right? We want Republicans and Democrats to work together. We want the governor to be an adult and work together as well, and that's what happened. I will tell you, just taking away my job as an assembly member, just as a person, it was really great to see. I was really proud of that. I was really proud as just a citizen of California to see that, because it was everything that was right about government, and that happened. $300 million for this community, save $1.3 billion, $700 million taxes. Now, I hope we all can do this on other issues too. But I will tell you, at a time when all we see in the news coverage is sort of bad things, there really are good things going on. There's good things going on. The media is just not really overly interested in covering that because they don't seem to like when people get along and solve a problem. But that is happening, and it can be done. And I was very proud to lead that effort. If I do nothing else in my time there, honestly, I really am very, very proud of that and what that meant. And I think, too, it sends, as kind of an aside on other issues, it sends a good example. If you can solve what really was the single major problem for California in my last term, in the last 2 years, if we hadn't gotten that $1.3 billion, state was going to be, it was going to continue to function, but it was going to be, there's going to be pretty significant cuts. So if we can solve that, it means some of these other issues, water issues, education issues, some of these other issues can be solved too, if people are just reasonable, tone down the rhetoric, and solve some problems. We know that, of course, when people in the developmentally disabled community are supported by their community, they really learn important skills and are able to live full and independent lives. I also, one thing that was important to me that we worked hard on was AB 1147, which allowed pediatric day health and respite care facilities to continue to provide their very excellent services to people over the age of 22 in a transitional care unit. So those young adults could continue to receive the quality care that they had become used to in an environment they're comfortable in, which of course is important to the treatment and well-being. We worked very hard on that with Terry. And the governor signed that, and so we've already seen these units popping up here in San Diego and around the rest of California. Another issue that's particularly troubling is the unemployment rate among the disabled community. There's many who want to work, but it's difficult to find places that are able to get hired and get a job, and oftentimes it's not at the full minimum wage. So last year I authored a bill that would have given a tax credit to businesses that employ people with disabilities at a minimum wage. And the goal was really to create a significant tax credit that would incentivize employers to offer minimum wage jobs to people with disabilities who otherwise would receive less than minimum wage. And unfortunately, that bill was held up in committee. But having said that, I'm going to bring it again. And we're going to keep trying. Another important issue, I've done this every year since I've been in the legislature, is have a bill that would increase penalties for sex offenses for people that are committed against people with disabilities. And we know the statistics on this. I won't go into them, but they're terrible. They're really terrible. And oftentimes victims are sought out by perpetrators who are specifically seeking the vulnerable. And that is wrong on so many levels. We also know there's low reporting of this, so even the statistics that we have, which are horrifying enough, really are underreported. And sentencing is dismal at best, and so these perpetrators really, a lot of the times, get a free ride. When these perpetrators are actually convicted, the studies have repeatedly shown that sentences are lighter for crimes committed against the disabled, and particularly for sexual assault. So I have this year AB 516, which would add sexual offenses against a person with disabilities to the list of offenses which call for application of the one-strike law. I've run this 3 times already. I've not been able to get it through, which is shocking to me. But I am going to keep running it. If I'm fortunate enough to be there for my full remainder of my next 8 years, I'm going to run it every single year until I get this one done. Finally, I also have AB 1074, which will update the existing law governing behavioral health treatment for pervasive developmental disorder, including autism and related disorders. It will make changes to current law to reflect the existing practices and changes in the field. It'll increase network adequacy and access to care. It will remove barriers for providers, and it will provide some clarity to employers and health plans. So we have a very busy year ahead of us. Thank you all for being activists. Thank you for coming out, in the middle of the day, taking time off from things you all otherwise, be doing today to come out here and show this community support. candidly, just, no, maybe this isn't the political, Nancy's looking like, oh God. But this community's been ignored too long by government, whether it's at a local level or a state level, and all of us collectively are starting to change that, and we're going to make progress. We have the opportunity now to do something over a series of years, and that's significant. The makeup of the California State Assembly has changed because they changed term limits, and before, the State Assembly members could only be there up to 6 years, and it was pretty quick to take complicated issues on. And now, with them changing limits, the class that I came in with can be there for 12 years. So we have the opportunity on more significant issues, on tougher issues, to see them through. Whether it's taking bills that don't pass and doing them again and again until they realize that the person's not going to give up on it, right? That seeing a bill 12 times, it's much more likely it's going to pass. That's number one. Number two, you can take complicated issues and by making incremental change, make a difference. We don't have to get it all in 1 year. We can over 6, 8, 10, 12 years make enough change that we really start to see some progress. The other thing I would say too is a number of you, and I know this is really hard, trust me, I know this is really hard, but a number of you have come up to Sacramento, and I recognize some of you all coming up here, so and visiting them, and it's important. It's important to do that because I will tell you, representing San Diego, we are just, physically, we're the farthest from Sacramento. The reality is, I haven't kept track, but just my sort of off-the-cuff guess is we see about 20 people from the Bay Area for every one person we see from San Diego. So, because they're closer, right? They can hop in a car, they can drive over, they can take a train. There's ways that they can do it. I know it's not easy hopping on. Trust me, I know it's not easy getting on South. So if you can do that, it's great because it reminds legislators, it reminds staff, what's out there and what's at stake, and hearing those stories again and again, it takes time. Some of these, I've learned just in the course of my career, you think when you have some of these really righteous bills, that they're just going to pass because everybody's going to see the wisdom of your ways, and that's not the case. It takes time, even on the stuff that you think should be simple. I will tell you some of the bills that I thought were going to be really hard, I got through pretty easily. But some of these ones that I thought, a couple of these ones that I talked about, I actually thought those were going to be a lot easier, and they've been harder. So, but I will tell you that I've moved the ball forward each year, and each time I sit down with my colleagues and explain it, and explain what it means, and explain why we should be doing that, I have made progress. So we can all as a community do that, but it does take time, it does take energy, and I know we're all busy, all of us are. I know the pay is not great in this community, it's not. There's other people who are lobbying for other interests who have huge salaries, and it's easy for them to go to Sacramento all the time. It's easy for them to meet with their legislators, and it is harder for a community. But that doesn't make it any less important that we do it. So I thank you for being involved. And I will say too, one other thing I actually point I want to make is, people ask me a lot of times, well, how, can you give me an advice on how to meet with lawmakers and sort of how do you decide and all of that? One thing I will say about our community in this room, you really are like one of the very nicest. I can't tell you how many nice emails I get thanking me for a vote. And that's a cool thing because, as a lawmaker, you get a lot of emails before, right? Vote yes, vote no, whatever it is. But afterwards, when you do a good thing, those same people, they somehow forgot how to hit send on the email, And our community, I think, is better than most groups out there. Having said that, it never hurts when whoever your legislator is, whether it's me or anyone else, that you send off a, hey, thanks for your vote on this, or thanks for your work on that. It matters, it resonates. And again, when we're taking the long view, which the reality is on all these issues that we need to do, we need to take a long view. How are we going to change this over a couple of years? I think that's helpful too. So with that, it's really great to be out here today. I'm amazed that we filled this room up. Not we, you all filled this room. I didn't really do anything to fill the room. But you all did that. It shows a lot. And we'll all keep plugging away together. We've made some progress. There's a lot more we need to do. But we should be happy about the progress we've made, mindful of still all the good work that we need to do. And working collectively, I think we can do that. I really am, despite oftentimes what we see, I really am optimistic that we can make some good positive change. So thank you all very much for having me out today. I'm happy to help answer any questions. If anyone else has anything else you all want to talk about, I'm more than happy to do that. But thank you again for coming out today.